Okay. Made a couple videos with about the Nikon D5. This is the reason why you should never judge a camera based upon specifications. Um, a lot of things look really good on paper, and a lot of people judge a camera based upon specifications. And people who want me to do reviews about cameras based upon specifications, you can give roundabout ideas and have insights on some things. Or if you have insights on the technology, new technology that's actually added to the camera, then you can talk about some particular attributes or characteristics of the camera intelligently. But this is why you don't judge a camera until you've actually had it in your hands and you've used it. Some people scoffed at the idea that I didn't have the Nikon D5 in my hands long enough, but I had more than ample time to draw an intelligent, logical conclusion on the camera based upon its performance. And I certainly was not judging. I've never judged any camera based upon its damn capabilities in video capture. I would never buy a camera. A lot of people do buy cameras based upon that, and in that case the Nikon D5 is an absolute loser. But I don't care about that. I don't care if it actually even did video at all. But I uploaded a 4K test sample. But I was not talking about the autofocus acquisition speeds, as was incredibly evident in the video sample, rather in photography alone. In continuous and single point autofocus, the 85mm 1.8G is incredibly fast. The 24-70, this lens also used, incredibly fast. The camera is slow. It is damn slow. One of the things that people get misled by, and all commercials will try to shaft your brain or screw you mentally in picking a camera. They'll take really misleading yet accurate video of something, but they won't tell you all the facts. And a lot of the D5 commercials from Nikon, they'll show you professionals that are standing underneath the cliff ledge, and some skier will come up above the cliff ledge, and they'll have the camera, the Nikon D5, in continuous bursts, continuous light. It's like, oh my god, that camera is really fast. No, they had the aperture set at a certain, f8. It could have been higher, we don't know that. But they're also pre-focused. There's no camera that fast that is actually going to, say you're focused on the ground and you're up here pointing the camera, and then you're going to hit the shutter release button halfway. And then as the skier is coming overhead at like 15 or 20 miles an hour, that the camera's going to go snap, bam, and then take a burst shot. That's not the case. All these pros do what every other professional does, is they pre-focused on a spot. Another video that Nikon did, which is a brain screw, it's accurate, but it's also a lie, because all photography is a lie anyway. And commercials are the biggest lie on earth. It's like selling a spot remover. It could be pure acid that will destroy anything, but it'll remove every damn spot. It's like, well, Wonder Spot Remover. Yeah, but it's pure acid. It'll eat a hole through something if you don't wash it away really quick. The guy was actually photographing some motorcyclists coming up over a hill, and they're about 80 yards away, and he's there right on spot, and as they come over the hill, it goes he didn't focus on them. He was already pre-focused. He knew exactly where they're going to come up over that hill. If you thought that the Nikon D5 was actually autofocusing that fast, then you're smoking crack. And then you bought into the commercial nonsense that every camera company, all commercials are like this. This is why you can't tell any camera based upon stats. It's kind of like looking at a pretty girl, like, whoa, she's gorgeous, and your friend's like, she's got HIV. It's like, oh my god, okay. You can't judge a book by its cover. You ever heard that one before? You can't judge a camera based upon stats. There's some nonsense that was actually just posted today talking about, wow, look at the 3 million ISO out of the Nikon D5. Well, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. Everything above ISO 6400 essentially has nothing to do with sensitivity. It has to do with noise cancellation, with noise processing. Do you think that my quad-core processor in the back with 32 gig of RAM, which takes several seconds with the noise processing software to actually eliminate out, about 80% of the noise, depending on the picture, is better than the camera? It's how fast that camera, given a very limited period of time, can actually dial out the 6 or 7 frequencies that actually equal noise. After it's passed through the 80 converter and the signal to noise ratio firmware, which eliminates out that noise and sends it onto the buffer to be dropped onto the compact flash card or the XQD card. You know, this 3 million, whoa, the Nikon D5, it's got ISO 3 million. Have you seen the pictures at 3 million out of the Nikon D5? The pictures at ISO 400,000, even way lower than that, are actually better on the Nikon D4S than on the D5. The camera is not designed for landscape work. It's not even designed for portraiture, although you can take beautiful portraiture pictures with it. As I proved today, I uploaded a few test shots. It's actually a nice, creamy, dreamy, beautiful picture, but it's not designed for that. It's meant to be an expensive, hardcore tool for photojournalists. You know, the camera should say on the front of it, you know, people are like, oh, that's the most expensive Nikon. It's Nikon's flagship camera. No, it's not. It's a 20 megapixel camera. This is Nikon's flagship camera. It's a Nikon D810. This is Nikon's well, it can't be. That camera is $3,000. Well, $2,000 is in gray market. Depends on where you get it from. That Nikon D5 is $6,500. That's got to be the better camera. No, it's designed for completely different purposes. It's designed to be a lawnmower that goes really, really fast. Although the autofocus speed was abysmal. That's why I canceled the order on the Nikon D5. That and the fact that, all opinions aside, the Nikon D5 was slower with the same damn lens than the Nikon D810. That's unforgivable. The zone contrast, the zone continuous autofocus was slower. The multi-point continuous autofocus was slower. The camera chassis creaked like an old woman with, you know, with brittle hips. I mean, the camera was poor, cheap plastic, poor. You know, I didn't rate the camera at all based upon the horrible video performance that it gave, which it was horrible. I mean, anybody could see that. You could hear the thing seeking like a blind old man in video. I don't know if people thought that I'm like a Nikon fanboy because I've got tons and tons of Nikon cameras and lenses that I was immediately... You know, I've been really happy to praise the Nikon D5. I mean, I would have been so happy to go, you know, this camera is worth every penny what it costs, and cost aside, this new camera is awesome. It's not. Nothing would have made me happier than to say that the Nikon D5 was just the tits. It is not. It's not. It's an abysmal camera. And even if that camera was $3,000, you know, 60% less, I would still, this camera sucks. I said, don't buy it. You know, I would have been so happy to say that the D5 was a wonder box. You know, that just in autofocus. So there's still a limitation. I'm going to talk about this in the next video. You have limitations like with internal motors like this. There's a new technology that's coming out, and all camera technology is always purposely 2 generations behind. I've always got the next 2 generations in order to put out. You have limitations on the AFS motors, like on this 24-70. And you have limitations definitely with the screw drive, which is a mechanical drive, which runs actually off a lens drive motor on the front of this camera, and on every Nikon, you know, the upper level cameras other than the 3000 and 5000 series. But the D5 is a loser. Price being irrelevant, say it's a $2,500, $3,000 camera, which is not, it's $6,500. It's a cheap plastic crud box. It's slow autofocus. The video is horrible, which I don't give a damn about. I don't care if it does video at all. God knows how sensitive that touch screen is going to be over the wear of a professional photographer. That's a very good question, and nobody has the answer to that one. That's an unknown factor. Everybody that buys one now is going to be a beta tester. It's a photojournalistic camera. This is a better camera for portraiture. This is a better camera for weddings. This is certainly a better camera for landscapes at 36 megapixels with no anti-aliasing filter. This is a much better camera. It is. There are tons and tons of journalists too that are using this D810 also. No, the Nikon D5 is a loser. The ergonomics on it are horrible. They didn't go to the new synthetic layering on the camera. They're still using rubber, which is bad because it wears too easy from hand pressure, especially from a professional. The acids and the rub, that's not a big issue, but the ergonomics, The actual door on the side, the door for the double compact flash cards, or what would be the XQD cards on the other Nikon D5, very, very chintzy, very horrible. The camera just doesn't rate, and Nikon failed on it. And people thought, well, he loves Nikon too much. He's a Nikon fail boy. Well, I shocked a lot of you because, you know, I had the camera on order. I was happy to get a wonderful camera, but I wasn't going to grade the camera ultimately until I tested it. But it doesn't take me long to figure out whether a camera's a loser or not. And that camera, it didn't make me think like, well, maybe I need to give this camera another chance. It didn't even do that at all. In other words, it's on the fence of like, yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. It wasn't even on the fence. It was, oh, this is a failure. This sucks. The ergonomics sucks. This thing is creaking like an old barn door from plastic squeak. That shouldn't be happening on a Japanese camera that's $6,500. Ergonomics are horrible. Still uses rubber. No, no, down the list. No, 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 no. So I wasn't even on the fence about it. I mean, it went downhill and it kept going on downhill. You know, opinions are opinions, but facts are facts. And the facts are that thing is plastic, it's chintzy, the ergonomics are horrible. The autofocus is definitely, opinions aside, the autofocus sucks on it. Now, I'm not talking about video, I'm talking about regular photography. The autofocus sucks on it. But that's a limitation of the AFS motors. It's definitely a limitation of screw drive lenses, which I was not using to test it, by the way. I was not using screw drive lenses, so the Nikon D5 is in no way. The one good thing about the Nikon D5 is it's going to drop the price of the Nikon D4S and D4 and maybe even the D3. And all of those cameras are winners. They just are. They're winners. You know, sorry for Nikon. I hope the D500 fares better. It might. You know, everybody wants me to talk about the D5. It's like, why talk about it? I don't have it in my hands. You know, the specifications will only tell you so much. It's like looking at a pretty chick. It's like, man, that chick is hot as hell. And your buddy goes, yeah, she's got some diseases. And you go, ooh, I can't see that. That's when, you know, I gotta lift the skirt up on a camera. You know, you gotta lift the skirt up and look for diseases. And the D5 is riddled with diseases. Especially for that kind of money. It's like, you know, the Nikon D5 is a high dollar hooker, but she's also got a lot of dirty diseases that will make you regret it. Regret it. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to buy one, go buy one. I've owned all the Nikon DSLRs. I'm not a Nikon fanboy, I'll be honest. Nikon isn't giving me a dime. You know, I'll be honest. There's a lot of people out there that are just so stupid. And they are. You know it's true. They're just so stupid. They'll buy any damn thing if the specifications are, oh my God, the specs on this camera are beautiful. Yeah, but the camera sucks. What do you mean? The specs are beautiful. It's got ISO 3 million and Well, you're an idiot. Not meaning you, but you know people like that exist, and they damn well do exist. They're either a fanboy or they're morons that look at specification charts. They're button sniffers. Well, it's got 10 billion ISO and ultra-low light conditions with a phase discriminator and an anal spectroscopy meter on the... Shut the hell up. You know, if these people had more experience or if they actually repaired cameras or lenses, then I might actually respect something they had to say, but I don't, and they never did. So, you know, those people don't have anything intelligent to contribute. I actually used the camera, and the camera was a failure. It went downhill, and it kept going downhill. Buy it if you want it. I don't care. I don't make a dime either way. But the camera's a no-go. Bye.